This is the video about metals and non-metals. This is the lesson in your 8th class physical science, and to differentiate between metals and non-metals, some properties are to be observed. The main properties, the main physical properties that we have to discuss is lustrous, sonority, malleability and ductility. If you say simply, luster means some materials are shiny appearance. So the materials which have shiny appearance are called lustrous. You know very well that all the metals have shiny appearance. అంటే ఏవైతే షైనీ అపియరెన్స్ అని కలిగి ఉంటాయో వాటిని లస్ట్రస్ మెటీరియల్స్ అంటారు. అండ్ మీకు తెలిసినంత వరకు అన్ని మెటల్స్ కూడా ఈ షైనీ అపియరెన్స్ అని కలిగి ఉంటాయి. ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ మెటల్ విచ్ ఈస్ నాట్ హ్యావింగ్ షైనీ అపియరెన్స్, దెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ రబ్ విత్ శాండ్ పేపర్ ఇట్ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ హ్యావ్ షైనీ అపియరెన్స్. The reason for shiny appearance is metals reflects light, that's why they appear shiny. If you observe your mirror, it will also shine because it has the property to reflect light. It doesn't mean that mirror is a metal. Mirror is simply non-metal, but it shines. Some exemptions are there. If you observe diamond also shines. That doesn't mean diamond is a metal, diamond is non-metal. I mean to say is all the metals are lustrous, but all the lustrous materials are not metals. అంటే మెటల్స్ లస్ట్రస్ ప్రాపర్టీని కలిగి ఉంటాయి, అంటే మెరుస్తాయి, కానీ మెరిసేవన్నీ మెటల్స్ కాదని అర్థం. Second property is sonority. Sonority means some materials make ringing sound, or I can say a deep sound, and that type of materials are called sonorous. All the metals are sonorous. Some are soft metals are there, they are not sonorous, but almost all the metals are sonorous, means they show the property of sonority. If you drop a metal from certain height, it will make a peculiar sound. You know that sound very well because in your daily life you are dropping many metals on the ground, so that you observe some sort of sound. If you observe, when you drop the wood from the same height, you cannot hear the ringing sound. If you drop a piece of rubber from the same height, you cannot listen the same sound, means ringing sound. Means the sound made by the metals and sound made by the non-metals is different. So by this property also you can differentiate between metal and non-metal. అంటే కొన్ని సబ్స్టాన్సెస్ ఒక పెక్యులర్ సౌండ్ని, దాన్ని మనం రింగింగ్ సౌండ్ అంటాం, చేస్తాయి. అట్లాంటి వాటిని సోనరస్ మెటీరియల్స్ అంటారు. And that property is called sonority. ఈ sonority అనే ప్రాపర్టీ మెటల్స్ కు ఉంటుంది. The substances which shows the property of sonority are called metals. And the third one is malleability. So some substances can be hammered, can be pressed and can be rolled. And this type of substances are called malleable. Malleability can be possible in the case of metals, because metals can be hammered. You can hammer iron, you can hammer aluminium, and metal can be pressed. You can press, nothing will happen. Metals can be rolled. That's why you observe many type of metal sheets. So this property is possible only with metals, and non-metals will not show this property. and some metals are less malleable because they have some brittleness. Non-metals are not malleable because they are brittle, but metals are not brittle, so they can't break easily, but non-metals can break easily. The fourth one is ductility. If a substance made into wires, means if a substance can be elongated, then we can say that substance as ductile. This ductility property is again shown by metals. No non-metal shows this property, and some have less ductile and some are more ductile. Platinum is the material which shows the maximum ductility, and you know well the gold is also shows good ductility property. 1 gram of gold can be elongated to 2 kilometer thin wire. This property of the gold is called ductility. All metals shows this property. That's why you observe iron wires, copper wires, aluminum wires, gold and silver wires, which are used to make ornaments, and this property is called ductility, and we can say the metals are ductile in nature. Non-metals cannot show this property because non-metals are brittle. So by this we can say metals are lustrous, metals are sonorous, metals are malleable, and metals are ductile. And the materials which show the property of luster, the property of sonority, the property of malleability, and the property of ductility are called metals, and the materials which does not show these properties are called non-metals. So some more physical properties can be discussed to differentiate between metals and non-metals, and of that the first one is thermal conductivity of materials. This is the experimental setup to show the thermal conductivity of materials. So to conduct this experiment we need materials. Spirit lamp, this is a metal rod, say an iron rod. Well, this is stand. This stand is used to keep the metal rod like this, and these are called the pins, and these pins are attached to the metal rod with the help of wax. So if you supply heat to this metal rod like this with the help of spirit lamp, ఈ స్పిరిట్ ల్యాంప్ తోటి మనం ఈ మెటల్ రాడ్ కనుక హీట్ని సప్లై చేస్తే ఆఫ్టర్ ఫ్యూ మూమెంట్స్ ద పిన్స్ విల్ ఫాల్ డౌన్ like this one after the other because the wax is melt here. అంటే ఇక్కడ పిన్స్ ఒకదాని తర్వాత ఒకటి కింద పడిపోవడం మనం గమనిస్తాం. ఈ ఎడ్జ్ నుంచి ఇటువైపు వెళ్తూ ఉంటాయి, వెళ్తున్నప్పుడు ఒక్కొక్కటి డ్రాప్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఈ డ్రాప్ ఎందుకు అవుతున్నాయంటే బికాస్ దీస్ ఆర్ అటాచ్డ్ విత్ అ వ్యాక్స్, వీటిని వ్యాక్స్ తో అటాచ్ చేసినాం. సో వ్యాక్స్ ఈజ్ మెల్టింగ్. ఇఫ్ ద వ్యాక్స్ మెల్ట్స్ ద పిన్స్ ఫెల్ డౌన్. This is the thing happening here. Why the wax is melting? We are not supplying heat to the wax. We are supplying heat to the end of this metal rod, means heat is transferred from this end to this end. అంటే ఇక్కడ హీట్ని మనం ఇక్కడ ఇస్తున్నప్పుడు ఇక్కడ వ్యాక్స్ కరుగుతుందంటే మీనింగ్ ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ హీట్ అనేది ఇక్కడికి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అవుతుందని అర్థం. సో ఇక్కడ మనం తీసుకుంది మెటల్ కాబట్టి మెటల్స్ హీట్ని కండక్ట్ చేస్తాయని అర్థం. కండక్ట్ చేయడం అంటే ఒక ప్లేస్ నుంచి ఇంకొక ప్లేస్కి పంపిస్తాయి. If you replace this metal rod with wood, these pins will not fall down and they will be fixed to the wood like this only, because there is no transfer of heat from one end to other end. By this we can say metals have the property of thermal conductivity. అంటే metals heat ni conduct చేస్తాయి. This is the experimental setup to show the electrical conductivity of materials. Here I have a simple circuit with a battery, connecting wires which are made with copper, and this is initially we have to left some gap here, and this is the bulb attached to the circuit. If you keep a conductor here, means which conducts electricity, then the bulb glows. If you keep a non-conductor, then bulb will not glow. This is the mechanism involved in this experiment. I am filling the gap with iron wire. If you fill the gap with iron wire, then the bulb glows. Replace the iron wire with the copper wire, then also bulb glows. If you replace it with any other metal wire, then also bulb glows. Now if you replace this gap with a coal or wood or some other non-metal, then the bulb will not glow. I want to say all the metals are electrical conductors and all non-metals are not electrical conductors. With this discussion we can say metals are lustrous because they are shiny, metals are sonorous because they make some ringing sound, metals are malleable because they can be hammered, they can be pressed, they can be rolled, and metals are ductile, means they can be elongated, they can make into wires, and metals conduct heat because they are thermal conductors, and metals conduct electricity, they are electrical conductors. With these properties we can differentiate between a metal and a non-metal.